Hi all, we're going to look now at one of my club games from the Tuesday just gone. It was Barnet Chess Club versus Wanstead Chess Club in the North Circular League. I was playing Chris Marden, who's about 164 ECF. I'm 185 ECF this year, so I was slightly higher rated. I've played Chris a couple of times before at least, and in one of the King's Indian encounters, I think more than 2 years ago, he absolutely crushed me in this variation. So we have here some standard moves in the main line King's Indian, and then he has this pet system which he's very, very comfortable with. It's this bishop g5 with an early bishop takes f6 here, which seems a bit strange to give up the two bishops, but it can accelerate White's queenside attack later with a very quick b4 and c5. In fact, I was so feeling crushed after his victory against me a couple of years ago. That's why I was interested in things like the tango this season. But because of Linares 1990 and Kasparov using the King's Indian extensively in that, I was kind of motivated to think there must be something I can do against his imminent queenside pawn avalanche. So he plays b4, and I think here, how can I change the picture? How can I change the strategy, the strategic crush which occurred in that game? I thought here of a radical idea to play c5, just blocking forcibly White's avalanche on the queenside. But it breaks a fundamental rule, or quite a few in fact. After b takes c5, I'm capturing away from the centre. I'm giving him a big pass pawn here. He's also got pressure on the b file. In my favour, at least the pawn's protected by the bishop. I might be able to get a knight later to d6. Maybe I can defend on the b file, and at least his queenside pressure can't be easily increased. At least I couldn't see an obvious way. So does that count as being having weaknesses which are not exploitable if the opponent can't easily increase the pressure? That's what I would like to sort of demonstrate by this game, this club game. After bishop g7, rook fb1. Okay, I play b6 and he plays a4, but after a5, how does White easily increase the pressure here? That's the question. I've also given him this b5 square for the knight, so this looks quite positionally bizarre for black to do. But after queen b2, rook b8, knight b5. Okay, this threat of d6, is it really that strong? Because I've got knight c6 to d4. Is he really threatening to also take this pawn? Well, I replied with bishop a6, tempting him to win that pawn. I think it's immune. We looked at it in post-mortem analysis, and I think it would be very dangerous. Let's have a quick look. Knight takes e5. Take on b5. Let's say a takes. Now we were looking at queen d6, because if f4 we were looking at g5, and we thought black had enough here. Because after all, he did give me this present in the opening, this dark squared bishop. So it seems to be a way of maximising that. Rivka actually gives a tiny edge for White at depth 10. But we thought it was actually better for black, because black's going to play knight g6. Let's have a quick look. Queen d2, gf. Actually, Rivka thinks it's equal now. Or virtually. Anyway, so he didn't want to win that pawn. So after bishop a6, he played actually knight d2. And I played now f5, hoping he'd play f3 so I can reroute my bishop via h5, bishop a6 to e3 and get a bishop here. That was the plan, not to play f4, because that would really give me this bad bishop for the rest of the game. He played queen c2 and I played h5. Again, he doesn't commit with f3, instead plays rook a3, and all of a sudden I'm a bit concerned here about my king side. I play bishop h6, and now he plays d6. So he's trying to blast my king side. It did look a bit scary, and I thought, yeah, perhaps I was going to get crushed here. On the other hand, I saw a nice little positional plan of knight c6, just temporarily giving up a pawn to play bishop takes b5 and knight d4. So that's what occurred here. E takes f, bishop takes b5 and knight d4, even allowing him this check. And after king h8, I'm a pawn down, but he's got pieces en prise here. This knight's en prise, so he has to waste time with that. And I just play rook f5, and all of a sudden I'm better. In fact, I'm going to be a pawn up now after I take on d6. So I was quite relieved with that storm over quite quickly. So we seem now to have a sunny day all of a sudden for the black position. I'm just a pawn up here, opposite coloured bishops. My king is not too badly exposed. I can just play rook f6. I've got one concern about this rook e1 to e6, but that's handled. This rook on f6 seems to be both attacking and defensive, potentially attacking his f2 pawn. So he plays rook e1, I double my rooks. And now he plays rook f3. A frightening move, I think. Is this a really, really cunning move he's played here? Perhaps he's trying to get in on e6. Initially, I look at bishop f4 actually, with a clever idea of g3 to play bishop e3. Rybka actually thinks this is sound, to my astonishment. So rook takes, queen takes, and he'd be in trouble here, because e takes, queen f2, and his rook's in pre. So anyway, that wasn't played. In fact, I was thinking actually that if I played bishop f4, maybe he's got other stuff like h3. I didn't really want to go into it particularly, because I was actually thinking, is this so ingenious, this rook f3? Why can't I just take and then play, as I did, just queen f4 here? We looked in post-mortem and we thought bishop e4, maybe rook e8, and then black has a plan, bishop g7 to e5. Black would be better. So actually he played rook e6 here, which is a bit of a disaster now. I just take on f3, and after queen c2, he just left his rook in pre, queen g4 check, picking up the rook. So that ended quite abruptly. Let's have a quick overview and summary of this game. I was black in a King's Indian, playing against Marden's pet line with this quick bishop takes f6. So I played the very controversial c5. I haven't actually checked yet Grandmaster games if this has ever been played before. I remember also Graham Burgess playing this horrible system against me in some King's Head tournament, which I managed to hold a draw with at FM at the time. I think it was at FM at the time. Anyway, this strategy means I might have a blockade square on d6, but that never actually occurred in the game. He didn't give me a chance for that. This b-file pressure, he created this weakness on b5. So the one thing, the key question is, has black got exploitable weaknesses such that white can just simply systematically increase the pressure until black's position breaks? I don't really know the answer to that at the moment. I haven't done such an in-depth analysis. I thought though after f5 I had some play here, which is what you can expect from the King's Indian, an exciting game. Maybe not the soundest, most solid or safe system in the world to play, but an exciting game. So after knight c6, I was very, very pleased to get a knight to d4, even going a pawn down here, which actually turned out to be very quickly a pawn up with a safe king position. And after that, white collapsed quite quickly with this horrible blundering sequence, blundering the rook. So the club actually drew the match 2.5 all. So we're still doing quite well in the North Circular League. I hope you enjoyed that game, and please leave any comments on YouTube. Thanks very much.